Judge, what do you make of all of this?
Well, either the president was just thinking out loud, as he sometimes does, or was taking a very, very extreme position for negotiating purposes so that the end result will be something that most people can live with, or he forgot that he took an oath to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution, which includes the Second Amendment, the right to keep and bear arms as a fundamental natural right, and the Fifth Amendment. If the government wants life, liberty, or property, it has to go through due process before it can interfere with them. But that statement will really animate the gun owners of the country and the NRA against him, because this is exactly what they fear most. Confiscation first, trial later.
Hold on one second, because I want to go to you, Marie, because this is farther than we've seen any Democrat go.
Democrats don't support taking guns before due process. And I've said this so many times in the past year, but if Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton had said, we're going to take your guns first and then go through due process, I cannot imagine. It's hard to fathom the amount of outrage that would be there. And it's not a serious proposal. Look, Donald Trump said some good things yesterday.
Maybe it is for the point of negotiation.
But the proof is in the follow-through, I think.
It's already legal. When I was talking to one of the police commissioners in Boston, who was an expert on our programs, and his name is slipping my mind right now, I apologize, but he was talking about their behavioral intervention team, who, when they get together, they said the moment that he was torturing animals, which is against the law, we read all the stories about him hurting pets and hurting the birds.
So there were pictures.
That if it were in Boston, there is a behavioral intervention team that includes mental health professionals, police, everyone who can go out to the house. The number one thing they can do is take away any weapons that are in the house. Then they look into, has he had mental health attention in the past? Is there a crisis going on? Is he in school? But at that moment, they said they don't have to get a court order, that they can take the weapons away at that second. It's already possible. Local enforcement
they can take the weapons away incidental to an arrest. That's been the law of the land for a long time. But if there's no crime committed and no basis for the arrest, they have to get a court order to take any property.
His point was, though, that in so many of these cases, they have committed a crime. In this case, he did. The mutilation of those animals was a crime.
Wow.
Government should have
taken his weapons.
It's hard to get away from one thing, and that is what the president has said. Leaving it up to the states, though, you've got Massachusetts there. You've got the Baker Act for 72 hours of a mental health hold. They didn't use it in this case.
No, he said that was another opportunity in Boston they would have done.
They would have Baker Acted him. Something similar up there.
The president's argument is it takes too long for due process. In every state in the union, state and federal court, you can get in with 2.5 hours notice when you have an emergent application, and there are judges who sit 24/7 for this purpose.
And look,
what he says is just not accurate.
Going back to the broader meeting yesterday, he put some things on the table that Democrats were happy about. At some points, there were Republicans who looked more uncomfortable. The proof will be in the follow-through. This reminds me so much of the immigration meeting.
Of course.
And the proof will be,
but the immigration
if any of
meeting
this can
had a different thing, that the young people who were speaking out in that are here illegally. And these young children who have just, lived through and survived one of the worst mass shootings in U.S. history are young, and they're out there with their voices, and they're American citizens.
But the president's behavior was
that
similar.
Does make a difference in terms of how long this story has lasted.
I agree.
And the depth with which.
I agree.
But, Sandra, you and I were talking about the Democrats around the table. Dianne Feinstein is so far away from where her party is right now. Democrats have pitched so far left that she was there smiling. She can't even get an endorsement to run again, but she's now excited about something the president is saying. So that may lead you to believe what Melissa's saying. He's doing this for, everybody's at the table. Effectively, let's move forward now and find something in the middle.
He does do this.
He does. She was excited about the fact that he seemed open to discussing an assault weapons ban, which she had been a leading champion of, and she has a personal history with having been the victim, and her staff had
probably
been the
also
victim.
excited he was listening to her, because nobody else in her party seems to be right now.
That's a little snarky. She has a personal history with gun violence.
Making us some House intel information or some Senate intel information.
She has a personal history with being the victim of gun violence and led on the assault weapons ban when it was in law for a decade. So I think that what I was comparing it to the immigration meeting, in that the president behaved the same way in both. He surprised Republicans, he surprised Democrats, he seemed open to considering new ideas. And then after that, so much of that feeling went away and evaporated when he went back to sort of his
Well, the urgency
original
did, because
position.
it wasn't around, like I said, these young people who've just survived.
How do we know the urgency is not going to evaporate
I think
now?
you're right, but I think another key difference besides the one that Harris pointed out is that in that case with immigration, he put forward his 3 or 4 pillars that had to be in there, and not everyone ended up agreeing on that. In this case, he's saying, what's your idea? What's your idea? What's your idea?
Yeah. I'll tell you, I want to answer Marie's question, though. You know why the urgency went away? Because now March 5th is no longer the deadline.
Yeah.
All right.